Hello, this is my revision. So let's get started, shall we? So, nature versus nurture, nativism or behaviorism. Well, we're going to start with nativism. That's the first thing we did in the lesson. So, Chomsky, he's the main guy for nativism. He believes that you are born with the abilities to understand grammar because he looked at like animals, right? Animals, they technically have cows moo, but they don't moo with grammar. That's something we do. So he said we have an inbuilt something in our brain called the LAD, the lad, away the lads. And that was basically it's the language acquisition device, and that allows you to gain language very easily, and you're sort of born with like a basic understanding of grammar. Like you might say, "I drewed," even though it's "I draw," but you understand there's a rule for ed for past tense. You know, um, that's about it. Really, that's all he pretty much did. Yeah. So then we go on to the feral child. I don't know PowerPoint for feral child. The feral child is basically this woman, this girl, um, had a very weird father. He didn't like loud noises. Very lucky to be alive from a baby. Um, but then he basically locked her in a room, a rubber room of rats, and rats make me crazy. I was crazy once. Um, no, not a rubber room, just in a basement. No language stimulus for a good couple of years, 13 years, and then when she was released back to the world, she couldn't quite grasp language. She would just not. She would be able to say like one or two words, like more, give more. She wanted more food, for example, but she wouldn't. She couldn't grasp grammar. And the feral child led to Eric Linenberg in 1967 um, about the critical period hypothesis, which is where he thinks if you don't learn language in the 5 years, you're never going to learn language. Um, and nativism also has a key thing called uh, something errors, fictitious. I can't say it. I know how to write it, but I can't say it. Errors, which is like, well, they're wrong, like Druid. They're wrong, but technically they're right if you go by the standard rule, and they don't obviously know the exceptions. Um, moving on, behaviorism. Oh, Skinner, 1957. He believes you learn language through what you see around you. You're not born with any special skills. It's just what we see, and what we see, fly. What we see affects our language. So I would be like, if I was a parent, like cricket ball. Can you say cricket ball? And the baby would go cricket ball. So now they know this is a cricket ball. What the theory doesn't say is how do the child know how to put in a sentence? How do they know to say I want a cricket ball or I want to throw a cricket ball? It doesn't explain how we quite grasp that grammar almost immediately without being shown it too much. You know, you react to a stimulus and a response is coming. The Skinner box. You had a lever, you had a mouse, you had a dispenser. Dispenser dispenses treats when the lever is pressed. So the mouse will eventually learn I touch this lever, I get food. Positive reinforcement. You give, you apply a positive stimulus, such as the food. Negative reinforcement is you remove a negative stimulus. So let's say every time, if so, let's say there was a pressure plate, and you had to be on the pressure plate to stop getting electrocuted. that would be negative reinforcements because you would immediately know, okay, if I step on this pressure plate, I'm stop pain, which is good. But yeah, that is called operant conditioning. That is. A downside to that is that they don't always get corrected. So let's say you're crossing the street and your baby goes fire truck to a red bus. You're not going to stop in the middle of the street and go, no, that's a bus. You're going to say, good job, now let's get across the road before that fire truck runs us over. You know, so children don't really receive negative reinforcements for incorrect language use sometimes, which is a smidge of a problem. And that's it. Not that much at the end of the day. See you next time.